It sounds a little bit like Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. And effectively, we know a lot of the consumer goods companies, the electronics makers, are all building Internet of Things. So for Apple not to have a suite of Internet of Things would be quite remarkable. So the watch, where they've now built out a rationale for having it around healthcare, and you could see the reaction in Fitbit shares yesterday. I think it was down about 7%. The market was saying, well, Apple's gotten back in the game on the Internet of Things beyond just the iPhone. Is that how you perceived it as well, Amit?
Sure. I mean, iWatch has been an improving journey, and I think the more important piece in terms of just purely collecting and showing the health data to the consumer as well as to the doctors, I guess, through the ECG charts, is the idea that Apple is going to continue to collect data over long periods of time, and time series data on ECG and stuff like that is going to be very, very valuable over the next 5 years with all the artificial intelligence technology that they have.
Not usable by professionals, though, was the verdict. At this point, you wouldn't expect a medical profession to use the data. It's more to get you into see a specialist if there happened to be an issue. But down the track, do you see that some of these silos might be bridged, that Apple will be a key player for a medical professional?
Well, they could be, because the FDA approval kind of already approves the basic data that you can show to the doctor. So there's the basic time series data on ECG is FDA approved, and well, as they go on with the next generations, I guess they can improve upon that.
Before we wrap up, can I just get into one of the big issues around Apple stock early in the week, and that was around trade, with President Trump tweeting that there should be more production brought back to the United States for Apple. As we mentioned, there's lots of different components under the hood and what's finished where and what's put into the iPhone. Do you see a huge transition because of political pressure as to where Apple's going to be making a lot of those key devices?
Well, that is a tough question, but what I can tell you is that I do speak to a lot of the suppliers as well for Apple, and there's a lot of moving parts right now where there are phones and components which are made in China, shipped to the US as well as non-US, Europe and other places, and then vice versa. There's components made outside of China which are shipped to US and non-US. So there's a jigsaw puzzle where they need to figure out and move around the supply chain to work around some of these trade tariff issues if they go on, to basically actually be able to ship the components and phones made out of China to non-US locations and vice versa. So hopefully that allows them to work around it. Also, the Chinese government, I was in Shenzhen last week, and I saw this thing on South China Post, is that Chinese government is also sort of incentivizing and giving loans to some of the manufacturers to move offshore to other cheaper locations as well. So, I mean, that could be another possibility, but again, I mean, it's a lot of things up in the air with trade tariffs, but there will be a continued pressure on Apple. I mean, it makes about $60 billion out of China. Huge. It's, like I said in the last interview, it's the #1 Chinese tech company. So there will be obviously pressure from both sides.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.